listen, never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Getting on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
There's nobody I'd rather be talking to right now in the world than Lucas Erceg. So thank you so much, and congratulations with everything you've done so far.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, so we were talking a little bit about sort of the evolution of you, and you had made mention of that really sort of you knew that you threw hard, right? Throwing hard is a good thing.
Sure, yeah.
When was the first time you knew that you threw as hard as you did?
I can't really put a pinpoint at, but I'd say right around Little League going into middle school, I kind of noticed that I threw a little bit harder than a lot of my teammates and friends. So it always came kind of natural to me. And throughout high school, I wasn't ever super overpowering, but I was able to reach the low to lowish mid 90s.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah,
you
in high school, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
90 was like a big stepping stone.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. You knew you threw hard, but you were a position player. And before we get into sort of that, what is the thing that made you take that jump, take that leap of faith from, okay, I'm a position player to I can throw hard, I can be a pitcher?
Yeah, and like I said, I pitched in high school and I ended up pitching in college. So in high school and in college, if you had more overpowering stuff than others, it was kind of an easier way to find success, right? Even in college, I was able to throw mid to upper 90s. So for me, I found it, as long as I was, in the strike zone, I was going to get outs. But moving forward to, 2021, when I started pitching again after not pitching for 5 years or something like that. And I went back to my roots and was like, hey, I'm just going to throw this ball as hard as I can right down the middle and see what happens. And boy,
it's a little different than high school and college, right?
Yeah, high school and college compared to Double A is completely different. So, I really had to take a step back and know that just throwing hard wasn't going to get me where I wanted to be. So I had to really focus on my process of, becoming a pitcher, figuring out what my routine was going to be, and figuring out how to, sequence hitters, understand scouting reports, read swings while pitching, right? That's a huge thing. So for me, it's just been a daily grind of understanding what I do right, what I do wrong, and moving forward with that information.
When I know you probably told the story before, but what was the ripping off the Band-Aid moment of I'm going to be a pitcher?
It was kind of being stubborn with myself, saying, I can do this pitching thing, and I can also still hit, right? I wanted to be the next Ohtani.
Yeah. Good for you.
And, I truly believe that, right? So I think I was getting in my own way a little bit, thinking that I was going to somehow be able to do both. But I think the day that I really, understood that I had to focus on just pitching in order to be a really good pitcher, that's at the end of the day, that's what it was going to take. So I finally told myself, hey, I'm done hitting. No more talking about hitting. No more, not really talking. We can talk about hitting all you want, but no more thinking that hitting is going to be a realistic thing.
Was there someone who said, like you said, when you came to that conclusion? Was there a moment? Do you remember what it was? Was there someone talking to you? Or?
Yeah, a couple coaches kind of mentioned that, right? Yeah. But even then, I was like, whatever, dude. You know what I mean?
I'm going to be Ohtani.
Yeah, I'm one of the more capable guys of doing what Ohtani can do, right? But at the end of the day, like I said, it was just I wasn't seeing the results. I wasn't seeing the progress in my pitching. And I finally listened to my coaches and was like, you know what? No more hitting. Let's focus on pitching. Let's progress as a pitcher. Let's find a way to make it to the big leagues. So,
but like you said, also there's that step, and then there's the true acceptance of it, right? Of I'm pitching, I'm not looking back, and I have to accept that the way that I look at pitching is different than maybe the way I looked at even when I made the choice to become a pitcher, right? So I mean, that probably. When was that? When was the moment you felt like you fully said, I am starting to figure out exactly what it takes to be a pitcher?
I think my first couple outings in AAA, getting called up when I was still with the Brewers, was finally progressing enough to make it to the next level, and then immediately getting hit in the face with, this is a whole different level of pitching that I have to understand. This isn't I kind of make the joke, but it's not really a joke. This isn't a hobby anymore. This is like, do your due diligence, have fun, do what you got to do. But at the end of the day, these guys are trying to make it just as much as I am.
Yeah.
And I think they're taking a little bit more serious than I am. So.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not that I wasn't taking it seriously,
but next
it was
level
like
seriousness.
It was a scary feeling to know that, like, oh my God, these guys have an upper edge on me, and like, no, that ain't gonna happen anymore, right? So, that was the kind of like light bulb moment for me. Is like, hey, I'm fully aware of my talent, right, and my natural born ability to throw the baseball hard. Let's take that and use it to my advantage, make myself understand what pitching really is, and go out there and show them what I'm capable of doing, truly. You know what I mean?
And when do you remember, maybe there was an at-bat, or maybe there was a day or a week, a month?
Yeah, I think it was just...
was it like toward the end of Milwaukee, or was it...
Yeah, like I would say when, the beginning of the 2023 season.
Okay.
When I, went back to AAA, it was like, I'm ready to, like, fully show them what I'm capable of doing. I worked my butt off in the off season to get to this point. Like, let's not waste this time with kind of beating around the bush, trying to strike everybody out. Like, let's do what they asked me to do, and that's, be aggressive in the zone, mix pitches, throw all my pitches for a strike, and see what I'm actually able to do.
And that was Milwaukee.
That was out in Nashville. Yeah.
So then there's always, we've had this conversation with so many people. Like, every time I see someone in Tampa, Kyle Snyder, oh, what's the secret sauce? What do you do? Like, or someone switches organization. Ryan Brazier goes to the Dodgers last year. They told me to throw a cutter. That's what it is. Sometimes somebody says something that just hits. And was there, whether it was with the A's, with the Brewers, or even now with the Royals, that sort of allowed you to take that next step?
Yeah, I think every coach that I've played for since I became a pitcher it's like, hey, like, can't walk guys, right? Especially at the big league level, walks are going to turn into runs at the big league level. You're gonna get exposed really quick. So I really had to find consistency in my movement down the mound, making sure that I was getting ahead of hitters. But more importantly, I think at the end of last season, I learned that, me throwing my slider was basically throwing a ball, because I couldn't throw it for a strike. Especially at the big league level, hitters were taking it out of the hand because they knew I couldn't. Like, the statistics said he can't throw this pitch for a ball or for a strike. So just take it, no matter how nasty it is, no matter whatever. Right. And it wasn't really that nasty.
But you had it, and you were throwing it like.
I was like, whatever. It's a fourth pitch for me. So I really honed in on trying to get a consistent movement pattern with my slider, and more importantly, I was able to throw it for strikes. So not only does entering this season, I'm able to throw my slider for a strike a little bit more, but now hitters have to think about that, and in the back of their head, they're still having to think about 98, 99 coming at them. So it's just an added pitch to my arsenal that if I'm able to throw for a strike, I'm in a good spot to have success, because now they got to think about 4 pitches instead of 3.
But that comes back to okay, let's dig in on the science and the art of pitching, right?
Yeah.
It's not, hey, I can throw hard, let's go.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Some guys can smash a slider. Some guys take it, right? They're more passive to it because they want to hit the fastball. If they're more passive to the slider because they want to hit the fastball, I'm going to steal a strike by throwing a slider, no matter what the movement, no matter what. If it's different than my fastball and I'm able to throw it for a strike, it's a good pitch.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you were talking, all I'm thinking about watching you in Baltimore, and this is a great thing about postseason baseball, is that everybody is thinking 50 times more about every single pitch.
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt that way.
No, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that I worked on this offseason was like the mental side to being out there, understanding that I'm the one in control of kind of what happens, right? Up to a certain extent. If I can minimize the situation, minimize the atmosphere, minimize the noise, minimize everything outside of what I want to do, and that's just execute a pitch and get 3 outs, then I'll be in a good spot because I know my stuff is good enough. But a lot of the times at the start of it, it was myself getting in the way of me having success, and that was because I allowed all that outside noise to play a part in my process.
I have to ask, was that just an evolution of you, or is that somebody said something to you?
Of course, yeah. Of course, you pick up pieces from each coach that you play for, but I think it all kind of came to fruition when I looked back at my 2023 season and realized that, oh man, if I didn't let the situation get too big in this at bat, or if I didn't think, one run wasn't going to be enough of a lead for me coming into the 8th inning, because as a baseball player and as a competitor, you remember those things, and for whatever reason, especially if you're a competitor, you remember the bad more than the good, right? Obviously, you remember the good.
Yeah, you remember for everybody in life.
But the bad is what keeps you up at night, right? So you just replay these plays through your head, and man, I could have done this better. It's like, why am I wasting my time and energy thinking about that type of mindset instead of, thinking, hey, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to do what I want to do, and that's minimize the noise, minimize the outside stuff. And if even if I focus on execution and getting 3 outs and just the minimization that I've been talking about, and stuff doesn't go my way, then stuff doesn't go my way. It's baseball.
I mean, but it's amazing that we just saw what you did in Baltimore, right? So I don't know if it's fair to say a year before, I don't know if were you able to have that mindset, because what you're talking about in Baltimore is exactly that, right?
100%, yeah.
Right? So I don't know, a year before, if you're able to function as well as you did.
Yeah, I don't think so either, honestly. And I don't want it to come off as the outings that I had in Baltimore were, and me talking about those outings as if oh yeah, that's supposed to happen, because
no,
it's definitely not supposed to happen.
All the things that led up to it is
correct.
What you're talking about.
Yeah, and that's what I take pride in my process is understanding what I didn't do so well last year, getting better at that in the off season, and seeing it play out in successful fashion, I would say, right?
Yeah, no, it makes a ton of sense to me. And I have to ask, so I've talked to JJ, I talked to Schreiber about this, Schreiber's I didn't realize how good he was. Well, congratulations for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
I want to ask about the trivia. He said he's the worst in the bullpen.
I kind of just play a part.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. But,
Jeff Garcia.
But when you are down, so you're going through this year with Oakland and you feel good, but to think of where you've landed, let's say May, arbitrary to say May. Could you imagine that this is where you're going to be landed? I'm not talking about being here in the playoffs. I'm talking about you, your role, your perception. What I watch. Could you imagine that back in May?
It's hard to say. I could imagine myself in this situation, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Could I have imagined it with the Royals playing against the Yankees in the ALDS? No, none of that. No.
Yeah.
But understanding my process and what I wanted to accomplish this year, I think all this played a part in making that happen, right? I don't know if that sounded kind of confusing, but
no, I totally get it.
Okay, all right, yeah, because I kind of confused myself there a little bit.
No, it's all
but
good.
It's easy to look back on it now and say yes, absolutely. But I think in that moment, I was only thinking about today, right, and thinking about what I wanted to accomplish today, waiting for tomorrow to come and figuring it out tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't it's May 15th. I can't wait to be in the postseason and this and this.
Well, you don't even know. I mean,
correct.
Listen, you don't even know. Certainly, if we're doing the mock trade deadline things, it's not like you're at the top of the list because you have years. I don't know if that surprised you at all.
Yeah, me being even involved in the trade talks kind of surprised me because I had never been involved in trade talks before, and Didn't think that anything like that was going to happen. You know, not that the A's like just shooed me away, because they took care of me and they loved me. I love them. I love the organization. Like I said, I'm from San Jose, Campbell area, so I grew up an A's fan. So it just didn't really not make sense in my head, but it
wasn't on your radar.
Yeah, not at all, right?
Yeah.
So, but I'm happy to be here. You know what I mean? I'm playing in the ALDS. This is beyond awesome, right?
Yeah.
So, just gonna take it one step at a time, be where my feet are, and enjoy the moment.
Well, I appreciate it. The last question is something totally different, but I ask everybody. Halloween, do you allocate $100 for your Halloween costume?
Do I what?
Do you pay $100? Do you spend $100 on your Halloween costume?
In the past, yeah, I have.
Okay.
I think just for my wife and I, but I don't really know what we're gonna be yet.
Okay.
Do
Do you have the best one? Do you have the one that you take the most pride in?
No, not really. I've never really been a costume guy.
Right.
But my buddy did send me one because we got 2 cats at home. My buddy sent me, you know, the husband was a scratch post and the woman was a cat. So I thought that was pretty good. It looked very homemade too, but it looked very well done.
Well, one of our members of the Baseball is Boring Family is a guy named Reese Green, who did the Randy Johnson. I don't know if you saw that last.
Oh
year.
Yeah, I did see that.
It's the go. So we have to figure out. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
One to beat. Yeah, 100%.
But I appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely.